I know how we got here. We got here because a small group of people who had very loud voices created a scenario where bad people got rewarded and the victim got punished by the system. You know, there is always a reason for criminal behavior. Whatever. Didn't have a good upbringing, didn't have two parents in the house, didn't have one parent, and there's always a reason. You're mentally ill, that's a reason. You took drugs, that's a reason. You took alcohol, your brain is fried. Whatever it is, there's a reason. There is never an excuse for bad behavior. And when society started to make excuses for bad behavior and react to criminality based upon the excuses, it fell apart. It fell apart. You're just as dead if somebody 18 kills you or 17. You're just as dead. And if you're 17 years old and kill somebody, you don't belong with kids who were 12 in a juvenile facility. You don't belong in a different criminal justice system, but a very small group of people pushed through in New York State, for instance, raising the level of criminal responsibility. Well, that's ridiculous. I mean, if you have family, if you have a mother who's 65 years old, who's walking to the grocery store, and some crazy, for no reason, hits her over the head with a steel pipe and kills her, and they're 17, that person should never be allowed to walk the street again, because society can't take a chance.
Judge Judy, you know, a woman who I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. She had the famous show. That's honestly how I knew who she was, Judge Judy. But she recently came out endorsing Uncle Trump. And I actually dropped a YouTube short on this yesterday, but the short kind of got cut off because obviously shorts can only be 60 seconds. So it kind of got cut off a little bit. Most of you got a big portion of it, but I wanted to talk about this a bit more because I do think it's very, very interesting and noteworthy, right? Because this is somebody who isn't a Trump supporter. And she said that before. Case in point, check out this video.
Now you have a judge.
Please welcome America's judge, Judge Judy Shineland.
I traveled 1,700 miles today to say that this is the person who has to lead our country in 2024. Otherwise,
she traveled 1,700 miles to show her support for Nikki Haley over Donald Trump.
I'm going to be very disappointed, and you don't want to be around me when I'm disappointed.
No, I've seen that for a long time.
That's outrageous. Outrageous. I'm done. You're gone. Goodbye.
Everybody knows the judge speaks hard truth. She always has. She's known for speaking her mind, and I'm thrilled that she's going to do that for us.
And it's an easy task because it comes from my heart. Because I've got no skin in the game except as an American, as a grandma, as a mother.
Well, Judge Judy, it's between her and Donald Trump now.
He should not be president. We don't want a barnyard bully as president. We want to listen to somebody who's got facts that the world respects.
Well, she would also be historic. She would be the first woman president.
And I would vote for her if she were a frog. Because when you have the merchandise, it doesn't make any difference if you're a man or if you're a woman. She has my support because she's right for the job. And it's a joy for me to be able to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the United States, Nikki Haley.
So as you see.
So you just heard it there. Not a Trump supporter at all. As a matter of fact, said that Trump should never be president. And, you know, obviously you saw there, gave all of her support to Nikki Haley, who was obviously running against Uncle Trump in the primaries. And she honestly ran way too long, in my humble opinion, wasting a bunch of money. But hey, we're here now, okay? But, you know, I just wanted to show you guys that to make a point that this isn't, some closet Trump supporter. No. Like, she's criticized Trump heavily in the past and in other videos as well. But this is what she recently had to say about Uncle Trump and everything surrounding him. Check out this video here.
Is that the justice system working, or is it the justice system being manipulated?
I would be happier, as someone who owns property in Manhattan, if the district attorney of New York County would take care of criminals who are making it impossible for citizens to walk in the streets and use the subway, to use his efforts to keep those people off the street, than to spend $5 million or $10 million of taxpayers' money trying Donald Trump on this nonsense. That's my view. But I, as a taxpayer in this country, resent using the system for your own personal self-aggrandizement. Now, if you didn't know...
And that's what you think the DA did in Manhattan?
That's what I think. I mean, if you look, you had to twist yourself into a pretzel to figure out what the crime was. He doesn't like him. New York City didn't like him for a while.
Trump.
Trump.
What do you think of Donald Trump?
What do I think of him? I think he was a good businessman, a real estate guy, and he was certainly terrific on The Apprentice.
And that's also a great point that she brought up there, The Apprentice, which, and I've brought this up in several discussions when I'm talking to Democrats and when I'm making the point that nobody hated Trump until he ran for president. Sometimes I'll bring up The Apprentice and how, popular that show was, and nobody was bashing Trump then. Nobody was saying, oh, F Trump, well, I'm sure there might have been a few people, right? Of course, you're going to always have your few outliers. But as far as what we're seeing now, that wasn't happening back then. And all of the allegations of him being this horrible racist, right? It only happened after he ran for president and won. It wasn't happening before. The guy had a very, very immensely popular television show that a lot of people not only watched, but loved. Right? So that whole narrative is out the window. But, I do think that it's really, really interesting to hear someone like Judge Judy say that, because as you guys saw in the previous clip, she's no Trump supporter. So to hear her, and on top of that, she is a judge, so she knows law. She knows the ins and outs of, the criminal justice system. So to hear her make that statement, being who she is, knowing that she doesn't really like Trump, I think that speaks volumes. You had to twist yourself into pretzels just to figure out what the case was even all about. That came from Judge Judy, someone who knows law, so I just wanted to highlight that because, man, you see some of these people on the left celebrating that Trump was convicted on 34 counts, but meanwhile, Hillary was basically charged with the exact same thing, and she got a slap on the wrist and a fine. But Trump has 34 felony counts, and they're probably going to put him in prison because of it. Like, come on. Like, how ridiculous is that? How ridiculous? That's absolutely insane. It just doesn't make any sense. And then to even the folks that were watching the case, you heard Judge Judy say you had to bend and twist to try to figure out what the situation even was. Just absolutely ridiculous. Meanwhile, crime is running rampant in New York, going absolutely crazy. I heard Alvin Bragg is actually dropping some of the charges, dropping charges against the what do you call it? Crap, I'm drawing a blank now. The Hamas protesters or whatever, pro-Palestine protesters that were, y'all remember, with the whole college campuses all over America, for what was that? Probably a week and a half, 2 weeks or so that was going on. Well, there were some people that were arrested, obviously. No charges. Alvin Bragg dropped those charges. None. They just get to walk away. Done. Good to go. But Trump's got 34 felony counts on a case that was investigated twice before, including one time by Alvin Bragg's predecessor, okay? And the statute of limitations had run out. So, like, anybody who is just thinking about this logically and not allowing their hatred for one man to blind them can see that this whole thing was bogus. And I'm happy that Judge Judy came out and said what she said. But as always, y'all let me know your thoughts about all of this. And peace and love. I'm out.